All right, the timeline. So I've indicated last time that the timeline, as the word timeline says, at a particular time there is an event or there is a moment or an occurrence that happens in someone else's life. You will then start looking at certain times or certain moments in your life, and then start from there counting and looking at the events and then situations and then occurrences that happened in your life that either derailed you from your purpose or derailed you from God's given purpose, or derailed you from your dreams, from your goals, or from your plans. Then you continue from a certain point in time and then you go accordingly. Just quickly, it is a graphical representation of events in a person's life. I'll go quickly, then if you want the details, just go and watch the previous live streaming and then you'll get more details around that. So I also briefly shared that this principle is actually fully utilized within the military or within the crime investigations. And also in the medical space, this the timeline is also being utilized, because when the crime is being investigated, so they will start at a certain point in time, at the particular moment where that crime started, to be able to dissect, to look at all the events that happened that led to that particular crime. So this timeline, similar to those environment where it is applied in. So it will also help you as a person and myself to be able to find out certain events or certain things or behavior or mindset that rob you of your valuable time in this earth, that delayed you towards your goal or the destiny, or that affected your emotions or behavior or mindset and so forth. So those are the things that you will achieve in analyzing this timeline. And I also identify that in the timeline, there are 4 aspects within the timeline. That there are sequence of events, occurrence periods, and then also they are organized in an orderly manner or chronologically. That's how they are ordered, from oldest to the newest. And then also there are sort of memories or pictures that are linked to each and particular event across that timeline. And then I also indicated that the timeline is not necessarily only linear like it's not only in straight line, but all depends on the life's happenings. So it can be like a roller coaster, or as this picture depicts here, like a road that is not straight, has got a turns and has got curves and has got humps, ups and downs, and so forth. So that is what you'll pick up on the timeline. All right, I'll just go quickly through this, that the difference between image and reputation management is how to present ourselves to the world. We do not want everyone else to know that we're not on top of the things at all times. We're not Superman and so forth. So that's why most people avoid to analyze and look at the timeline of their life, because they don't want to expose themselves or be vulnerable and so forth. Yeah. The greatest battle that I had in my life, which most people also have, that I've identified in my timeline, is that was to redefine who I am, that speak to my identity or my image. So that was the greatest event in my timeline that I had to face and try to redefine who I am, and then not allow my circumstances or my past to define who I am. As many people allow what happens to them define who they are, or define the borders or the domain in which they fit in, and dictate what they can do and cannot do. So I had to go through that journey of redefining myself. As I picked up that event in my life, that I actually lost that identity through what happened to me in the past. This is my discovery along this journey of trying to analyze or to understand my timeline during my life. So there are two important days that I've discovered in my lifetime or in my timeline to where I am today. The first day that I've discovered is the day when I was born. The day I was born, that is the first day that I've discovered. So that speaks to the place that I was born at. That speaks to the time that I was born. That speaks to the people that surrounded me during that time, during that day of birth, of my birth, when I was born into this life or into this planet Earth. The second day actually is not the death way, is not the day, the last day, and my last day on earth, but it is the day when I discovered why. The day when I discovered why I was born. The day when I discovered my purpose on earth. The day when I discovered the purpose of God upon my life. The day I discovered the potential that I carry within me. And then the day that I discovered what legacy I want to leave behind in this life when I'm gone. What is a legacy that I want to leave behind? What would I prefer people to say or to talk about me when I'm gone, and so forth. And these are the key 2 days that I've identified in my life. That there are only 2 important days in my life: the day I was born and the day I discovered why I was born. Because so many people out there, they just live life and then they're just waiting for that day that says now is the time to die. But then they miss all these good things in throughout their timeline to discover, why am I here on earth? Yes, it's not easy to define or to identify or to discover why you were born or why you were here. It's a deeper process on different techniques to identify that. So that need a different type of processes and techniques where coaches, psychologists, or whoever can assist you in that journey. Okay, let's continue. So this is also important for us to understand that in the timeline of your life, so there are seasons in your life, and then each and every season counts in our lives as human beings. So what I'm depicting here is there are certain seasons in our lives that are grouped in the ages, the age of a human being, an age of a person. So you'll find that from the age 0, which is from the time you were born as an infant, to up to an age of 25 years. So that is a foundation, a season for you as a person. So that is a foundational time and a season for you as a person. So this is very fundamental. This is very key for you as a young person, as an older person, to understand what has happened during that foundational stage. As we all know, or not all, the building industry or construction industry, the very critical part of building or construction is the foundation itself. So any building can only stand on a foundation that is solid, foundation that is built according to a certain standard. a foundation that is able to withstand the load that will be imposed upon that foundation. So that's why the age 0 to 25 years is very key for us to build that foundation. That foundation can be built via the how we were raised, the relationship, the love, how we experience the love, how we saw the world, the exposure that was brought to us, what we were exposed into, and so forth, the people that were present in our lives. So that foundation is key. And then next season in our lives is a season of success. So this is mostly the people that are now the youngs that are now out of universities and then going into the business world, the workplaces, trying to build their careers, looking and searching for success. So this is the season that is also key to those people that are in that age group. And then the next one, it follows through also up to the age of 43. So which means from 25 years to 43 years. So that is where now people are so busy to build their lives, their careers, their family, their marriage, their children, and their businesses, and whatever it is, their ministry and so forth. And then in that particular season, that's where all the investment, that's where all the discoveries are happening, the potential, the ideas, the belief system in who we are, all the potential that is hidden in us, it is facilitated in this season. And then the very important one also is called halftime season. So this is actually the season from the 43 years to 48, 49. So this is where now people in that age group start now to take a step back, take a pause, and reflect over their lives, where they have been. Because most of the people, most of us, we get so busy and caught up in the success season, forgetting that there are other seasons that are coming. So when you are in that season of a halftime season, so that is a season to pause and reflect of what you have achieved, what you haven't achieved, and where you are heading to as a person. And then you head now to the most significant season. No wonder, okay, let me touch on this. No wonder why most people that reach 40, you'll hear outside there, that's not what I believe in, because I believe I've got my own thoughts and beliefs and then ideologies. So most people will say when you hit 40, then that is a season of identity crisis and so forth. But actually, it is a season where now you sit back and think and look back and look at your life, where you are now, currently, presently, what you have achieved, and then what is it that you still need to achieve. So those are the things that you looked for. So most people then get so confused or so get bogged down with so many things. Their minds, their hearts are so full of so many things. Maybe that's why people say in that season people have identity crisis or midlife crisis, whatever the case might be. But that's not the case in some other people's lives. The next season is a significant season, which is now ranging from 49 up to 70. So this is significant now, in a sense now, that you look now at whether the purpose that you are born for, or that you have been created for, the ideas, the dreams, the visions that you had, now, did you achieve those? Because this is significant, because there's not much energy left in you, there's not much time left in you to do all the other things that you could have done in other seasons. So this is quite significant that you need to now align yourselves. Alignment is important. and to synchronize yourself to the purpose of your creation, of your why you are here on earth. So that is that season of now realigning yourself, repurposing yourself so that you now get into that mode, not necessarily waiting to die, not necessarily waiting to give up, but when you finish well, then you'll be looking back and say, oh, yeah, I've run the race. I've received what I was looking for. I have given what I've planned for to give towards the world, to give towards my people, to build a legacy for my children or the generations to come. So that is there's around that to say every season counts. Do not neglect every season that happens in your life. Do not settle for less in every season of your life. Segregated self. So this is a triangle that now speaks to the three triune self within you as a person. So in this segregated self, so there is an actual self, who you are. There is a perceived self, who you perceive to be, or who the world or people, friends, family perceive you to be. And then there is a presented self. You know, there is that self that we put in the cupboard. And when you go to events, that self comes out. That you present that good looking, that energetic, that confident person, that confident self. And then there's actual self. So this is the triangle that every day of our lives we border around this three self, segregated self. So, but the key thing or the principle around this is that think about this like an elastic band or a spring. So when this triangle increases or enlarges in and out, so that means you departing or you moving further and further away to the true united self or the true you, then it becomes difficult for you to be yourself, who you have been created to be, the real I am. So it becomes difficult. So the key here is to try almost to get these circles, the triangle, come closer together. Then you'll live your life in the unified self or the united self. I hope you catch that. Now I'm going to talk about the gap factor. So the gap factor, it's a very interesting concept because it talks about two different positions. That there is a position in the past where I was as Pulamuloi, as yourself. You were this person in the past, or you went through this in the past. But there's also the future that you are heading to or that you're looking for towards to achieve. There's a goal, there's a vision. So what happens is that we sometimes find ourselves in a gap of our past and a gap of between our past and the future. So this is where the struggle and the fight is, that we find ourselves in the present, that our past are still sometimes tries to pull us back to where we were, and then also our future still tries to pull us towards where we need to be or who we need to be in future. So this is the gap factor that I'm presenting to you today, that at times we find ourselves in this gap and then we think that, oh, the world is falling upon me. I cannot handle this. I cannot do this. I'm giving up. some other resorting to fear, some other resorting to any other form of giving up because of these two forces that are pulling from each side. But it is for us, while we are in the present, yes, not forgetting where we come from, but to also know where we need to go to, which is our future, that we don't give up, we hold on, and then we look forward to ending well this race through this timeline of our lives. Because at most times, most of us give up in this moment, in this present moment, because of the force, because of the challenges, because of the burden, because of the challenges, because of anything out there that is opposing their forward thinking, their forward movement. Then what happens? Boom, an event happens in the past, between the past and the present. So there was an event that happened in your life. Then what happens is that that event is stuck in your mind, in your heart. You can't take it out. And then everything that you do, you base it on that event. It might be a painful event. It might be a joyous event. It might have been a happy moment or a moment of loss and so forth. But that event happens. Then that event, when it happens, then either it derails some of us from our path towards our destiny, towards our future, or it derails us in a step backwards. I don't know if you heard or learned that some other people, they live their life backwards because there is something in their mind, there is something in their heart that is still pulling them back to what happened in the past. For an example, myself, I made a conscious decision that yes, I grew up without a father, but I cannot hold that to him and then still have that resentment and then still live my life being stuck there, whereas I still have a bigger future ahead of me. So I had to go through that process. It wasn't an easy process. For you out there, you might need some help, professional assistance or help, either be it a coach or a therapist, a counselor or a psychologist. There are tools, there are people that can assist you in that process. I'm not saying it's an easy journey to just forget, but I had to do that for myself to be where I am today, to be able to speak to you, to be able to help someone out there who has been or who is in the similar situation that I was in the past. So what happens is that there are certain events that happens in our lives. Boom, boom, happens, goes. And in the future, there will be certain events that will happen. But some of us are still stuck in a particular scene of our lives, in a particular moment of our lives, and we've given up because we thought nobody cares, nobody loves me, I'm not important, I will not amount to anything, why should I care? So you find someone still stuck in a certain moment in the past, but they are still in the present in 2021, but they are here physically, but the whole being, mentally, emotionally, psychologically, some of us are still in the back, stuck in a certain moment in time, in the past time. So this is painful, but for you to be able to understand where you are and what has caused you to be stuck in the past. So hence I'm sharing this learning, this nuggets with you that will try to ignite that thoughtfulness in you, that will ignite that awareness in you to realize that, hey, if I don't change my life now, I will not be able to achieve the plans, the goals, the dreams that I had, that I always had. I hope you're still engaged. I hope you're still getting inspired. Let's continue. This is the very painful moment. I think this will be the last slides for this thing. I'll see how far I go. This is actually painful for me, and maybe some of you might be painful, because when I see someone out there that still struggle, that's still being stuck in a certain rhythm of life because of a certain event that happened, because of a certain occurrence, or because of certain someone, or whatever it may be, it pains my heart. And hence, the purpose of this channel is to ignite hope and to transform lives. Because I believe that what I went through, or what I've discovered, there is someone out there that can see benefit out of this. We're still talking about the gap factor. There is the present you. You are in this position presently. There is a future that you're still looking forward to. This is now presently that you're growing, developing, not necessarily as a child, but you're growing. So that's a developmental season in your life. Then, but the future, you want to be that matured person. You want to be that person who has developed, that person who has now grown to a certain level, either be it in the career, either be it in the family, be it in business, be in any personal space of development. So that is what all of us are heading or looking for towards to. But again, as I said, there is that moment or that event that happens in that lifetime, or the timeline in your lifetime. Then when that event happens, and then I'm going to relate it now, this one, to the painful moments or events that happens in our lives. So what happens in our lives is that when that event hits in our lives, whatever event it is, either be it loss, then that event derails some of us away from the path that has been crafted for us. Then we don't now live or walk or journey in our timelines on the path that leads to our destiny, or towards our future, or the goal, or the vision that we have set for ourselves. So we find ourselves living parallel to the original path, or to the path that is meant for us. So we live sort of parallel to who we're supposed to be, or to the journey or the path that we're supposed to live. Just imagine this with me. Have you seen a highway or a road traveling alongside a railway line? So you see that you even though you're facing in the same direction, your car, your vehicle is facing in the same direction as the train, but you're traveling on different roads or different roads or routes. So which means you're traveling parallel to one another. Even though we are going or heading to the same destination, but now that you have been derailed from that original path, you might find yourself that it will take you more longer. It will hammer or hamper your emotions, or it will have some form of impact on you as a person, because now you're not living or walking or riding on that original path that has been crafted for you. I hope you follow. So, but that is not the end. That is not the end. So as you journey on that journey that you've been derailed, don't give up, don't lose hope. Because now this is the purpose of this whole teaching around timeline concept. That there is the greatest possibility for you to revert back or to journey back to that route, to that path. But that is not an easy step, because you have to take that journey within you, to speak to yourself, to have that self-introspection, and to have that willingness and awareness that, hey, now I need to change my life. Now I need to change my thinking. Now I need to change my behavior. Now I need to change my career. Now I need to change my business strategy, whatever the case might be. So there is hope. Nothing is lost. You didn't lose it all. There is still hope. So the hope is that you'll then go back to traveling on that path towards your future, towards that excitement will come back, that hope will be ignited, and your life will be transformed. Then now be more wiser in future. You'll be more wiser to be able to timeline. In my life, there are certain events that happened in my life that derailed me from the path that was crafted for me. But I met men and women that spoke life into my life, that inspired me, that reminded me what I possess, what is in me. And that ignited that hope, that ignited the passion in me to say, Pule, you cannot die now. You cannot give up now. There is still more that you can do. There is still more that the world is awaiting from you. That was a changing moment. That was a transforming moment of my life. And when I started going back to that path, and I started walking in the gift and the talent that is within me. The talent, one of the talent is it is what I'm doing now with you here, which is teaching, speaking, presenting. So those are the things that I hold on to, which became my strength, my pillar. So you too also, you can do that. Identify those kind of things. Identify your gift. As there is one book in the Bible that says, the book of Proverbs, that says your gift will make room for you. So as soon as you identify that gift, who knows, maybe that gift, it is what you've been looking for the breakthrough in your business, in your career, in your life, in your family, in your ministry, because you'll be operating in your gift. Because when you have that gift, you flow it freely because it comes out of your heart. You are passionate about it. No one forces you to do what you do because it is your gift. It is in you. It is in your DNA. So you move back to that path that has been crafted for you. Then you enjoy the ride on your timeline. Thank you. Danki, Yaleboha, Nyabonga, Enkosi. for your time, for joining me in this session. And I hope you've been empowered. I hope you've been energized.